This is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. I'm in the Grease and Gears garage today getting ready to do another episode, and this time it's on the Tea Dozer, man. We're going to make a custom tank today out of a set of 3.5 gallon Fatbobs. We got some more information coming up later in the show if you're not sure what the Tea Dozer is and what that has to do with Twisted Tea. But this is going to be a great episode. Get ready, kick back, because we're going into the garage. Chris, Cycle Source Magazine. Back in the garage. We're here in the Grease and Gears garage today, feverishly working away at the 2020 Twisted Tea sweepstakes bike. This is what will be the Tea Dozer, now that we're officially calling it that. You guys are going to get a ton of footage of all the build process. I have been going through. We took a set of 3.5 gallon Fatbobs, split them down, got that all done, built our tunnel. Just last night we got our mounts on. Everything's looking good on this, and it's a successful rubber mount chopper tank, so that's pretty awesome. All right, so here's our 3.5 gallon Fatbob tank. One side, and
getting ready to go on Jenny Craig. Going from fat bob to a skinny bob.
A little bit of a diet getting ready to happen. So you can see
up in this house, bitches.
We laid out our cut line such as it is, and Mark's getting ready to do the deal.
Hello.
Hey.
Somebody's gonna take that one wrong.
Well.
So you want to just stay straight on with it, and then we'll cut the tunnel out. Or how about if I just cut down straight to that line, and then I'll just cut this off even the whole way, and that way
we'll come back in and figure out where.
Yeah, like I said, I think maybe your smartest move is going to be able to take the other tank and slip them together.
Yep.
Until you're happy with them, you know?
So Mark is fixturing up the tank on the opposite side. Hey, this is all you kids at home. This is the chopping of choppers.
Yeah, this is the fun part.
Yep. Don't get me wrong, it's great to live in a day and age where there's so many parts available, man. Cat from lowbrow are awesome, red sled awesome, but there's nothing like getting in the garage and taking something from a motorcycle that's not even close to the one you're working on.
Nothing like getting in the garage and taking advantage of something. So we're just gonna do a little slice along, and then we're gonna stay along that. What do you say? Somewhat of a straight line?
I'd say honestly, until we figure out what we're doing, just stay right on the seam. And
look at that. One little piece. Yeah. So if by chance you've ever found yourself inside of a motorcycle tank, that might be what you're looking at. Well, from here, obviously, see how they're not perfect. So Chris will take them back to the Grease and Gears shop and start hitting them with a belt sander and get them lined up real nice. Once that's done, mark your line across the bottom, but you see we left some extra meat there to play with, and then some body work. There you go.
Okay, so we're back in the shop, and we got our 3.5 gallon Fatbobs that we cut in half, and we're just starting to go through, and you can see I got a nice line going on here to try to straighten up my edges. And between the belt sander and the hand grinder, I'm just going to take my time and try to bring these lines down to get the tanks to get nice. I can tell you that the more time you spend here doing this, the better your finished product's going to be. You know, it would seem to you like to hurry up and get to the weld part, but seriously, you'll be sorry. I'm not so worried about the bottom really fits as long as nothing's in the way, because most of the bottom's going to get cut out for this. Pretty nice line across the back going on. I might actually dress that up and get ready to weld. Pretty close. I'm gonna just go real quick and dress up the edges with a lighter grit on the wheel so we can get set up to start welding. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here, then get all of this cleaned up, and we'll come back and get into the welding. I'm going to make the tunnel. You guys have been watching us cut down those 3.5 gallon Fatbobs, and now we're actually going to make the tunnel for it. So come on, I'm going to show you how I do a quick layout for a tunnel. I'm going to take my tank here real quick. I can establish the fact that there's no way I would need a tunnel more than 8 inches deep. So all I'm going to do is go to 10 to allow for my 2-inch tubing. Shop's a mess. A lot going on. Make a reference line. We've got 10 inches. Love weld table. Did I mention that lately? How much I love the weld table? Love weld table. Lock that side down. this side down. Okay, and at that point, I'm just gonna get a hold of this. So, continue on. I actually want to watch here because I don't want a complete 90-degree bend. I want it to be nice and uniform. Let's see. 6. Three and about an eighth. 3 and about an eighth. Okay, let's pull it out and see what we got. Okay, so we have nearly a 90, but not entirely. One side of the tunnel had a really nice roof. And the other side was tight and more square, so hopefully that caught up. Pretty close. I'm good with that. We're gonna take it over the bike and see. Obviously, see, we're gonna take a bunch of the material away. Looks good for her width. And now all I'm going to do is start making an estimate of where I want to be here, which is very shallow, and we're going to come down, you know, like I said, probably in the 6-inch range down this way, and cut this stuff off and get it slipped on. Cheat. Get my measurement for the front of the bike at about 4.5 inches. Gonna be almost no tunnel there. So I'm just gonna take and transfer those measurements out to the edge. Straight edge, one line to the other. All right, man, so there's our reference line. We're gonna take a couple minutes here with the cutoff wheel. If I had a bandsaw that was worth a damn, I might be able to do it with that, but I don't, so we'll be right back. That'll be our tunnel. Awesome. We'll get the pattern made for the tank. Then once we get this, the cutout for the tank, we can, if we have a little bit of extra here, it'll be nicer to throw the weld in and clean up the weld. So let's go back over to the bike. Okay, we definitely have way too much tunnel. There. Okay. So it's actually lower than I want in the back. So I think what we're going to end up doing is remaking our line. I want to check the Maybe we'll just leave it like that and then leave it high. So that's step one. Now we got to take this. We're going to make a pattern out of the end of that. Figure out where our pattern ends up here. Make our line through here for the tunnel. Get that all cleaned out real nice and get ready to set this on here. At that point we'll make sure it's straight and square where we want to tack it. And we'll go to town. I am going to take the opportunity while we have that tunnel opened up. It's going to give me a chance to come in with the planishing hammer, and I'm going to qualify this weld. And we'll talk about that, and I'll show you about that when we come back. Okay, so back in the shop, we got our tunnel. It's nearly the depth that we want in the front and the back, and we're going to go on to templating the ends of the tunnel, transferring those to the tank, and we're going to begin the cutout work of the tank. So let's come over to the table. Okay, so you can see that I already have my template drawn out. I'm going to do it on a square piece of poster board, and I'm going to go all the way down to the end. And the reason for that is by knowing that this is square. Center, because I came to the bottom of the board, I can just use a square. So basically, other than that, it's going to be cutting this out. Try to take your time, make it nice. That's our first template piece. We're going to do the same thing. The tunnel was bent right. On both of these, we're going to stay to this side of the line. I'll tell you why that's important. So, we set this down this way to do this template, and that's the shape that it is. So, when we're looking at the tank this way, that template was made this direction. So, put it on the tank, we want this to be the outside, right? Again, transfer where our center is. Okay, happy with that. Same deal with that one. That'll be the side that faces out from the tank. There's our two templates ready to go. Now we want to start looking at the tank. How do we know where we're putting this on the tank is square and going to be as accurate as possible? I'm going to turn the lights off for a second. Not off, but down. Now ahead of time, I've checked my my center lines with the weld with a seamstress tape. I've checked my center line between the tank, and I know those are good. I know that my center line comes off a little bit here. And what I've done is using a laser. Before everybody says, "Oh, well, not everybody has a laser," I got this one from Lowe's for 30 bucks or something. It's a Skill laser. I mounted it on top of a $20 tripod, so I'm pretty sure almost everybody can do that. Now, the benefit that gives me is by going from my center line, I know where I want to put this in relation to my tank. I like to use for this kind of stuff either gaffer's tape or 100-mile-an-hour tape, we call it, which is the standard industry term for duct tape. Put that one there. Go to my line. Center, center. I'm happy with that. Okay, so you can see where I've got my template. So I've moved it a little bit so I can just push down on this, transfer my template. I should mention that it is fully my intention to cut, I don't know, between 1/4 and 1/8 inch short on this right off the bat. I'm just going to keep it nice and meaty so that I can come up to that line slowly, and I'll keep checking my fitment as I go. So that's ready. And I'll move to the other side. To this slow, we'll keep fitting. That's about it. So now we start cutting.
I joined the military straight out of high school because I felt like I really needed some direction in my life. And what I got out of it was a sense of purpose and, more importantly, to be part of a brotherhood. I started riding when I was 21 on sport bikes like most of us do when we're 21 years old. Quickly, I transitioned into love of a cruiser. My perfect ride would be with all my buddies with me, riding on the coast of the ocean. There's something amazing about having all your friends with you in the perfect scenery all at the same time. My bike is a 2015 Harley-Davidson Dyna Fatbob. My favorite upgrades to it so far are my custom fairing and my 16-inch ape hanger handlebars. My name is Brandon LaBelle, and I'm a Dennis Kirk rider.
All right, man. Hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. We're about halfway through the program, and great episode of Greasing Gears Garage. We want to know your feedback, though. Make sure you're throwing your comments up so we see what you think about this stuff. Now, the Twisted Tea program in general, I want to speak on that for a minute because Twisted Tea has been such a great supporter of Cycle Source Magazine and Greasing Gears. Every year, to thank their fans out at the motorcycle rally, Twisted Tea has us build a motorcycle, a custom motorcycle to whatever design concept we come up with, and then they just give it away. Literally, all you have to do is go to their website, go to twistedtea.com, or there's a text message right down at the bottom of this ad, and it's going to tell you how to text for an opportunity to win this custom bobber built for Twisted Tea that could be in your garage by the end of the year. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy a Cycle Source magazine. You don't have to buy a Twisted Tea. This is their way of saying thank you. So we want to say thank you back to Twisted Tea, and hey, let's get back to the program and see how this tank comes out. Okay, so you guys didn't have to hear all the bullshit of me going with the grinding wheel. I made 2 quick passes, and you can see I left plenty of meat on both sides to dress out slowly and by hand. But luckily already I have the passage from my tunnel going into place, and now, like I said, I'm just gonna slowly keep working away at that extra until this one fits nice, and I can keep double checking it and fitting it. So far, I'm real happy with it. I think making that last little adjustment that we did is definitely going to pay off too. So that's where we're at. Okay, so we're starting to get everything smoothed out on the 2 long lines. Now, coming around to these edges, there's a couple ways that you can approach this. I have a air-driven reciprocating saw. Sometimes these work, sometimes they don't. That's not too bad. All the big pieces are there. Die grinder. That's not a bad fit. Right off the bat. One of the things I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to look for the places where I'm touching, and I'm going to make some indication marks so that I can bring those down a little bit and get a little more of a tight fit on that. But super happy with it so far. All right, we'll be back. And we're back in the shop today to mount the tank. So, have our custom tank ready to go. I'm actually going to rubber mount this tank. Mostly because it's a little bit bigger than the tanks that I use normally, so this was just a standard chopper tank. So I'm going to use these top hat bungs with these rubber mounts. Use my little gauge here to find out that that's a 1/2 inch that I need to drill into the frame for these top hats to drop in so that I can make my mounts. So we're going to start with that. I have located the center point of the frame. Center punch. I have a small drill bit, and I'm just going to go in a graduating fashion with my bits. So small up to the point where I can get a step drill in there. Step drill is a nice little deal, because it just gives you real fast steps to get to. You know, we need to get to a 1/2 inch, which is 1, 2, 3 rings in on this. So I actually have this one made. I cut the tip off so that I don't bottom out when I'm doing frame roll, or frame tubing. So I'm going to start with this because it has a better point. We'll do the first couple steps with it. You can actually feel it when it gets to each step. Don't let anybody bust your balls about taking your time to do stuff like this, because it's the frame of the motorcycle. It's not like if you screw this up, you can make it up and weld. That ain't happening. Nice fit there. So now we'll take our mount piece. We'll actually put this together, put it on there, lay the tank on, get a center line, and that'll give me the ability to tack it into place. I mentioned how much of this stuff comes from lowbrow. Dude, lowbrow has become one of my chopper secret weapons, man. Not so much of a secret, but those dudes are badass. Like they got that hot product, you know, bungs, tabs, you know, all the little goodies to make building a chopper a little more fun, especially in your home garage. So that's what I'm looking at with that. I'll probably get that top hat tacked in first, but I just want to take a look at where the tank's going to sit and make sure I'm going to like this. Okay, so you can see I got my top hat tacked in and then laid this all out. Got a nice straight line while Heather held it. I put 2 little tacks on the tank, and I got the beginning of our rear mount for our rubber mount system. So I'm going to take this off gently, and we're going to take the tank over to the bench. I'm going to throw a little more welded in. At the same time, going to I made some marks and located where I want to put my 2 front mounts, because I'm actually doing a 3-mount system this time. And like I said, you know, when I'm doing little chopper peanut tanks, it's a little easier of a proposition. So here's one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys for sure. You know, I put this mount together to do this. So when I say that I put a quick little tack in, I mean a quick little tack, because this has an inherent tiny amount of smoke inside of it. And once you let the smoke out, shit doesn't fit right again. I don't know how they get the smoke in there, but I have personally let the smoke out of this little thing. Never goes back in, ever. Okay, so we have a center line established. I've made my measurements about where I want my tank mounts to be. I'm going to strike the center. Get a good start on that. Back to the little drill bits. Step drill bit. So now we have 2 perfect top pads to mount our side mounts of our gas tank, but if my measurements are right, they're too long. So we're going to take a little bit off of the ends of this, and then get them both fitting in here nice together. We'll tack them in place, get this all welded up, get our tank back on with our rear mount, then we can set our we can tack our side mounts together. We took a set of 3.5 gallon Fatbobs, split them down, got that all done, built our tunnel. Just last night we got our mounts on. Everything's looking good on this, and it's a successful rubber mount chopper tank, so that's pretty awesome. Gonna get the wheel on today, battery box, a bunch of the little stuff so that we can get to mounting and spacing the fender. All of this has to happen as Mark is waiting in the wings to get the sheet metal to start doing his bodywork magic and make all this shit look good. All right, so that was awesome, man. Came out pretty cool. You know, I had an idea of how I wanted this tank to be in the beginning, and we got pretty close to what my vision of it was. More Grease and Gears Garage programming coming out, man. I mean, as the whole COVID thing starts to soften up, we're going to be traveling across the country, and you'll see us move from Grease and Gears Garage to Grease and Gears Garage Roadshow. What is that? That's where we come to your shop. We want to come to a shop like the next one coming up is going to be Xavier Muriel from Providence Cycle Works. We're going into the shop with Xavier. He's going to show us some of his tips and tricks for metalworking. Kid's got some mad skills. We're going to bring that to you next. But look for this programming. And remember, you want to support this, you want to see more of it, like and share. Make sure your friends know when we go live with this programming, and we'll keep doing more of it. Till next time, I'm Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. Thanks for tuning in to the Grease and Gears Garage.